It's 6:22 in the morning and you're still half asleep when you feel it. A warm, wet tongue sliding deliberately across your cheek, your nose, the corner of your mouth. Your dog is inches from your face, tail wagging softly in the dim light, licking you with focused, rhythmic strokes like they're trying to reach something deep beneath your skin. You push them away gently, wipe your face, and within seconds they're back, tongue working with the same quiet determination. Most owners call this morning kisses or assume their dog likes the salty taste of their skin. Some find it annoying and push their dog away. But that explanation misses something fundamental about the neurochemical cascade unfolding inside your dog's brain during those wet, persistent moments when they choose to lick your face specifically. Behavioral researchers have spent decades studying this single interaction, dogs licking human faces. And what they found reveals a biological process far more complex than simple affection. Under this behavior is a surge of attachment hormones, ancient caregiving circuits, and cross-species communication that connects your dog's nervous system directly to yours. When your dog licks your face, they're performing a specific biological function rooted in wolf ancestry, infant care behaviors, and genetic mutations that only domestic dogs possess. There is one discovery about what happens in both your brains during these moments that will completely reframe how you see that wet tongue on your skin. Once you understand what is happening, you will not see your dog the same way again. The salty taste explanation feels logical because dogs are scavengers and your skin contains salt. But if this were only about flavor, your dog would lick plates, counters, and floors with the same intensity they reserve for your face at 6:22 a.m. They don't. Your dog chooses your face when you are emotionally available, when you're waking up, when you've been crying, or when you just came home. The timing is not random. Because what behavioral science has documented about this moment is something far more specific than appetite. Face licking triggers caregiving systems, stress regulation, and social bonding mechanisms that exist nowhere else in the animal kingdom. And it starts with research showing that this behavior creates a hormone loop between species that mimics the bond between human mothers and infants. There is one finding from 2024 about heart rate synchronization during face licking that I want to come back to, because what those researchers discovered will reframe every single thing I have just told you. But before we get there, we need the foundation. In 2015, Miho Nagasawa and colleagues at Azabu University in Japan published a groundbreaking study in science that changed how we understand the dog-human bond. They wanted to know if dogs and humans shared the same neurochemical bonding mechanism that connects human mothers to infants. They measured oxytocin levels in dogs and their owners before and after periods of interaction that included gazing, touching, and face licking. What they found was extraordinary. When dogs licked their owners' faces while making eye contact, oxytocin levels spiked in both species within minutes, an increase of 130% in dogs and 300% in humans. This is the exact same hormone that floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn baby. The physical act of licking triggers a bidirectional neurochemical loop that makes both participants feel bonded, calm, and emotionally connected. Wolves do not show this behavior with humans, even when hand-raised from puppyhood. Adult wolves lick pack members' faces only in specific contexts, after hunts or when soliciting food from higher-ranking members. Your dog does something wolves don't do with humans. That distinction matters more than almost any other fact in this video. In practical terms, your dog's brain has evolved to use face licking to hack your endocrine system, creating a chemical bond that ensures the survival of your relationship. Number 1. Your dog is activating ancient caregiving circuits in your brain. When your dog licks your face, they are not using random affection pathways. They are triggering the same neural systems that respond to infant care behaviors, the circuits that have kept human babies alive for millions of years. Face licking in dogs evolved from licking up, a wolf puppy behavior where young animals lick adult mouths to stimulate food regurgitation. Researchers at the University of Eötvös Loránd in 2019 found that 61% of dogs tested showed secure attachment bonds, functionally identical to human-infant caregiver relationships. When your dog's tongue touches your face, your brain interprets this as infant-like contact, triggering protective instincts and nurturing responses. This is why face licking feels different from other dog behaviors. It bypasses rational thought and speaks directly to ancient mammalian caregiving circuits. You soften your voice, lean closer, often touch them gently, or speak in higher tones. You are responding as if to a dependent infant, and your dog's brain registers this as confirmation of the bond. That is not manipulation. That is 15,000 years of coevolution creating cross-species communication. Number 2. Your dog is reading your biochemical state through chemical analysis. Your dog's tongue is not just for tasting, it's a sophisticated chemical sensor working with their vomeronasal organ to analyze your internal state. Dogs possess approximately 300 million olfactory receptors, compared to humans' 6 million. And when their tongue contacts your skin, they are sampling cortisol in your sweat, reading emotional signatures in skin oils, and detecting chemical changes you cannot perceive. Researchers at the University of Naples documented in 2019 that dogs can detect human stress hormones, blood sugar changes, and even early signs of illness through saliva and skin secretions. Wolves use this vomeronasal organ primarily for territorial marking and reproductive status. Your dog has adapted this ancient tool to monitor your health and emotional state with extraordinary precision. You've probably noticed increased face licking when you're stressed, sick, or upset. They're gathering diagnostic information about why your chemistry has changed. That wet tongue is your dog taking a real-time reading of your internal world. If you are finding this useful, it genuinely helps to leave a like. It tells the algorithm that content like this is worth sharing. Number 3. Your dog has genetic mutations that make them hypersocial. In 2017, Bridget von Holt published research in Science Advances identifying structural variants on chromosome 6 in domestic dogs that are completely absent in wolves. These genetic insertions are located in the same region associated with Williams-Burns syndrome in humans, a condition characterized by hypersociability and intense drive for human contact. Dogs with more copies of these variants showed significantly higher levels of human-directed social behavior, including face licking. Your dog licks your face because they have been genetically engineered through selective breeding to seek human proximity in ways wolves never would. This hypersociality is not indiscriminate. It's directed toward their primary attachment figure. You've probably noticed your dog reserves the most intense licking for you and maybe one other person, not strangers or casual acquaintances. The genetic mutation makes contact neurochemically rewarding, but attachment experience tells your dog whose face feels like home. There is an archaeological discovery, an actual ancient burial, that I want to tell you about in a moment. It will change how you see everything we have just covered. Number 4. Your dog is performing stress regulation and conflict resolution. Face licking serves as both emotional thermometer and thermostat in your relationship. When your dog senses tension through your cortisol levels, facial expressions, or body language, they often initiate face licking as appeasement behavior. This is descended from wolf pack dynamics, where subordinate animals lick higher-ranking members to de-escalate conflict and maintain social harmony. But your dog doesn't just do this when they're in trouble. They do it when you're stressed, even if it has nothing to do with them. Research from University of Jyväskylä in 2024 found that heart rate variability synchronizes between dogs and owners during face licking within 90 seconds, with 73% correlation, the same level seen between human mothers and nursing infants. Your dog is literally using their tongue to regulate both your nervous systems simultaneously. Think about times you've been crying or arguing, and your dog forces their way into your space to lick your face. They're not seeking attention, they're trying to restore emotional balance to their pack. 36,000 years ago in Goyet Cave, Belgium, someone carved the image of a dog into mammoth ivory, one of the earliest representations of domestic dogs in human art. But chemical analysis of the hearth sites reveals something profound. Dogs were sleeping within arm's reach of humans, positioned close enough to face-to-face contact during rest. By 14,000 years ago at Bonn Oberkassel, Germany, a dog was buried between two humans in a deliberate arrangement. This dog had survived distemper for weeks, a disease requiring intensive face-to-face care, including hand feeding and comfort. Genetic research by von Holt identified that the chromosome 6 variants making dogs hypersocial are completely absent in wolves. Dogs were literally bred to seek facial contact with humans in ways their wild ancestors never would. Someone 36,000 years ago allowed a dog close enough to lick their face and decided that bond was worth preserving. This is not modern behavior. Your dog's drive to lick your face has been hardwired into their DNA since before agriculture, before cities, before written language. The 2024 University of Jyväskylä study I mentioned reveals something extraordinary about what happens during face licking. Researchers expected moderate physiological synchronization, similar to petting or sitting together. What they found was that face licking produced the highest degree of cardiovascular synchronization of any behavior tested. Within 90 seconds, the dog's heart rate variability began mirroring the human's with 73% correlation. This level of synchronization is typically only seen between human mothers and nursing infants. The difference matters because it reveals face licking is not one-way communication. Your dog is physiologically connecting their internal state to yours, using their tongue as a bridge between nervous systems. When they lick your face, they are not just expressing affection. They are regulating their own emotional state by syncing it to yours. What this means for your dog specifically is that face licking serves as biological co-regulation. If you are calm, they absorb that calm. If you are stressed, they attempt to pull you both back toward baseline through the rhythmic, soothing action of licking. Now, there is something I want you to pay attention to. If your dog has been licking your face consistently and suddenly stops, or if they begin obsessive, compulsive licking that's difficult to interrupt, do not dismiss it. Sudden changes can signal dental pain, oral tumors, nausea, or cognitive dysfunction. Research published in Frontiers in Veterinary Science found that dogs with oral pain often reduce face licking because tongue movement becomes uncomfortable. Conversely, excessive licking, targeting the same spot repeatedly or continuing despite redirection, can indicate anxiety disorders or early illness detection. Dogs have been documented obsessively licking areas where owners later develop skin cancer or infections. Colorado State University researchers found that 35% of dogs over 8 show cognitive dysfunction, with changes in social behaviors like face licking among the earliest signs. If you notice significant changes in face licking behavior, especially in dogs over 7, mention it to your veterinarian. The first thing you can do starting tonight is observe the context. Notice when your dog licks your face, morning routines, after stress, during emotional moments. Research confirms dogs increase face licking during owner stress, suggesting they're responding to your chemical state. Understanding the pattern helps you see what your dog is reading in you. Beyond that, if you want to honor this behavior without encouraging excessive licking, allow a few licks, then gently redirect to eye contact or petting. Pendry and Vandegrift's research showed that 10 minutes of calm contact drops cortisol in both species. You can get the neurochemical benefit without the wet face. Finally, pay attention to how you feel afterward. The oxytocin spike is real and measurable. If you feel calmer or more connected, your dog's 36,000-year-old bonding strategy is working exactly as evolution designed. So the next time you wake at 6:22 in the morning to that warm, wet pressure on your cheek, remember this. Your dog could have stayed asleep. They could have waited for you to come to them. They could have greeted you with a tail wag from across the room. Instead, they chose to cross the space between you, put their face inches from yours, and connect their nervous system to yours through the oldest bonding behavior domestic dogs possess. Not a bark, not a nudge, not a paw on your chest. A deliberate, focused lick that releases a chemical cascade in both your brains, the same cascade that has bonded our species together since humans carved dog images into mammoth ivory by firelight. If this changed how you see your dog, subscribe to this channel and drop a comment below. I want to know, when does your dog lick your face the most?